a report about disabled people's rights in Scotland. Every person has human rights, for example, the right to be free and safe, to work, to support and care, and to help from the law. The United Nations, or UN, checks and protects human rights all over the world. It has produced a document that details the rights of disabled people everywhere. It is called the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Sometimes it is called the UNCRPD. This video has been made by the Scottish Human Rights Commission and the Equality and Human Rights Commission. We check that the Scottish and UK governments are doing what the UNCRPD says they should do in Scotland. We have written a report for the United Nations who check what governments all over the world are doing and ask them questions about it. In our report, we recommended some questions to ask the Scottish and UK governments. Our report includes what disabled people said. These are some of the things we recommend. The Scottish and the UK governments should put the UNCRPD into law so that disabled people can get their rights. They must also make sure their rights are protected when Brexit happens and the UK leaves the European Union. This is what our report says about housing. Many disabled people live in homes that are hard to live in or not right for them. There is not enough good housing for them. We want the UK and Scottish governments to say how disabled people in Scotland will get the right changes made to their homes and more good housing. This is what our report says about support and money to live on. Some disabled adults and children do not have enough money to buy the things they need. We want the Scottish Government to say how the new way to give people benefits will involve disabled people to make sure it is right for them. This is what our report says about jobs. We want the governments to support disabled people to work and to make sure they are paid the same as other people. This is what our report says about education. We want the governments to make sure disabled children get the support they need to do well at school. They should be in the same schools as children who are not disabled. This is what our report says about health. Disabled people, including those with learning disabilities, should have the same chances as everyone else to be healthy and live a long life. This means people with learning disabilities and mental health problems too. We want the Scottish Government to make sure that people with mental health problems get proper treatment and care, especially children and young people. Scotland's mental health laws and services should be reviewed. When people are not free to leave the place they are cared for, there should be a system to check this is the right thing for them. Here is what our report says about access to the law. Some people do very bad things to disabled people. We want to know what the governments are doing to make it easier to report crime. Disabled people need more support to be heard in court and when they speak to the police. Here is what our report says about making your own choices. We think that people need more support to make decisions for themselves in all areas of their life, including their care and treatment. Decisions are often made by others. People need more advocacy to help them understand their rights and be heard. Here is what our report says about what people think of disabled people. Many people think bad or wrong things about disabled people. This needs to stop. We want to know what the governments are doing about this. So, what happens next? The United Nations will start to talk about our report in March 2017. Then they will ask questions to the Scottish and UK governments. There will be more discussion in August 2017. Then the United Nations will make recommendations to the governments. We will keep working with disabled people to check and report on what the governments are doing. To find out more, visit www.scottishhumanrights.com or www.equalityhumanrights.com.